in 1989 when the elders asked that I coordinate a blockade up in southeast British Columbia on my original homeland to protect an ancient burial ground from desecration by Canadian Highway Ministries. They wanted to build a road and a bridge. And 6 of us went up there to start it, and other people said they'll bring supplies, so that's what happened. My daughter was only 15 years old, Chante Washdewi, and she said, I said, how come you came with us and did all that, Chante? I saw you out there holding those, she was standing there alone holding those, this heavy equipment. I don't even know. My little grandson knows more about that than I do, but it had a blade anyway. She said, I don't know, you just told me to do that. Whatever you told me to do, Mom, I did it without asking any questions. So it was just automatic. But this one man, he tried to come in and infiltrate our camp. We had that mile-long road blocked off, and then the burial ground, ancient burial ground, was in the trees on 20 acres. So this man said, "If you guys better be careful." She was up there with the elderly woman, and we were watching the south point. This man tried to move in, and they blocked him. And he said, "You better be careful. You'll be down there eating rocks." And my daughter didn't know what he meant until years later. We told them if you're in danger, you whistle. But I didn't know they didn't know how to whistle. We didn't have any whistles. We didn't have any walkie-talkies. You know, all we had was one press person. I learned that from the American Indian movement. You protect your people. You have somebody covering it from the press. We had to use what we had in the moment. In the 1 day's notice, we had to go up there to a country that we had never been to before, just maybe one evening. You never know when you're going to be called to action. You never know when you're going to be asked by the elders to stand up and say a prayer. You never know when you're going to be asked to transport a fugitive. You got to keep sharp, you know, and be on your toes and be in spirit with the Spirit. You got to educate. You got to teach somebody. I taught my daughter. She's teaching her daughter. Her mom taught her. She taught her son. Her son's famous. She taught her daughter. She's got her son here. You don't have to be alone. You can adopt. I can be your sister. I can be your grandma. I can be your auntie, you know. There's no reason why any of us have to be alone in this world. We're here, remember, we're caretakers, are we not?
Yes.
So the government is merely a screen for the rich corporations. Big enemy. They can do whatever they want because they have the money. They have the money to buy people off. They have the money to send somebody in to disrupt, and they have done that. But we don't ever underestimate the power of the people. We can develop, some people are born with the natural gift of discernment. I'm not, but I'm developing it. I'm getting so I can tell, I can read people more. And I hang with those who can read people immediately. So, if there's any questions, I'll leave it open.
Originally from Puerto Rico, one of the very last living colonies. My question is, how could you support those women in Puerto Rico who have identified with the Indian nation, who are trying to help us realize our identity back in Puerto Rico?
You contact the International Indian Treaty Council, the information office here in San Francisco. It's down on Mission Street.
Okay.
The phone number and the address, we can get Star Gali on the end here.
Okay.
She's a representative, works in the office. But one of the board members is from Puerto Rico.
She currently lives out there.
A woman?
She currently lives out there, a woman. Naniki Reyes, and she's a board member, and she currently lives out there. Does a lot of work around sacred site protection issues. So, and I guess in the original, when the Treaty Council was founded, there's a clause in there that specifically talks about Puerto Rico and support and connecting of indigenous peoples in Puerto Rico is mentioned.
It's very important that you get in touch with the people at the International Indian Treaty Council. The International Indian Treaty Council was formed in 1974, and it's the diplomatic arm of the American Indian movement. So you're in the right place. You just get, they have more expertise in reaching worldwide the process by which to protect your resources.
Thank you.
Question is for Corine, because you're fairly new in the chapter. If bylaws are broken, how do you guys as women deal with those individuals pertaining to respect of women or disrespect of elders or children?
Our chapter is new, although my husband and I have been involved with AIM for about 15, 16, 17 years, but our chapter is new, and everyone in our chapter knows each other very well, and we've all worked together on different types of projects prior to starting our AIM chapter. And one of the things that we said in our bylaw was this. We said, number one, we're not recruiting members. We just felt that we needed to put out the word that the kind of membership we would entertain would be people that pay child support. If someone is a perpetrator or an abuser and is not getting help for that, we didn't want them in our chapter. We didn't want them in our chapter if they were not spending time with their family, because we put family first, because what is family? That's your people, right? So consequently, almost everyone in our chapter, unless they're kids of chapter members, are all single parents. And we're okay with that. There was, in August, a little ways ago, we wrote down we were having an open meeting, and we put down that criteria for if you were interested in becoming a member, or at least coming to the meeting. We put down that criteria, and I was very pleasantly surprised at the response back. I mean, some people thought I was talking specifically to them about, well, I don't pay child support because of this and this and this. And our deal was, well, you can't have kids and not put them first. You can't have kids and expect the government to raise them and be a member of our AIM chapter. That's not going to work. And so the people that we've got in our AIM chapter, I believe, are high quality people. The people that would stand up and fight and take care of one another. And I know that a lot of other chapters are doing that. Now, if there's someone in our chapter that is disrespectful to, let's say, a woman in our chapter, then they're usually talked to by we have a spiritual leader in our chapter, and we have elders in our chapter. And of course, that hasn't been the case since we all work together. We've all known each other. And we have male single parents and we have female single parents. So we all need each other and we help raise each other's kids. I don't know if maybe anybody else would like to answer that question.
I don't know how much time we have and everything, but I would just kind of wanted to comment on this because, of course, being at my age now, my memory's kind of, it's not what it used to be, but back in the old days, back in the day, it just seemed like one of the things we did a lot of things, and our people, we didn't have to recruit members or anything like that. I mean, our people just came. And of course, it was a different time. There was different issues are going on. But all I can say when I look back at the beginning was, it was like harmony. There had to be harmony. Otherwise, how did we get everything done? There wasn't the women over here and the men over there and this, that, and the other thing. It was a movement of people. And like my sister said, it's when you're talking about people, you're talking about family. So I think that's why we have, to this day, we have respect for each other, men or women, because we all went through a lot back in the 60s and 70s. We went through armed conflict together, so we have a bond. And that, for anyone in the later years to disrespect that by disrespecting others, especially women and children, elders, whatever, to me, I just don't understand that. They have no business in trying to involve themselves in the American Indian movement. I mean, this is just something I wanted people to know, about why we did what we did, and we were able to do it in the past, in those days, because we all stood together. There wasn't, of course there was incidences, because like Clyde said, we were a movement. I mean, anybody could jump on our bandwagon, and we weren't into, carding everybody and checking them on. We were a movement, and we had hundreds of people on any event we we were at. Anytime we were going to go do something, confront the police or confront whoever, the tribal government, we had hundreds of people show up. So the respect was just there. And I see here where there's some, the Grand Council, the bylaws of the AIM Grand Governing Council. I think this is really important because these now are people that are elders of the movement. And this is really, really important. There's just some highlighted parts here, and one is respect for women. Part of it says we must remember to acknowledge and respect the sacredness in each other. Not just men over here, women over there, but in each other. And this requires that men and women treat each other with patience, honesty, respect, and justice. And I think that's how you're doing with your new chapter. You know, it sounds like this is a good thing, you know, with these virtues and stuff. The example of the sacred woman teaches us that women must be prepared to defend people, etc., etc. And they are respected for their important abilities to our society. I mean, yeah, there's certain aspects that women handle in that, but it's in harmony. Because the men have their certain things they do and it balances out. Harmony is in balance. So that's the strength, and always has been strength, of the American Indian movement. Women also are responsible for monitoring the political processes within our movement to ensure that political leadership reflects the best interests of the people. Now that goes back to tradition and culture way, way back when women's circles in some of our original nations, they made those decisions. They were the ones that decided the politics. The example of the sacred man is under the guidance of the elders. I think this is really well written. I never got a chance to really look at it myself. I just knew it was a good thing, you know, but now here I am reading it, and that's good. Virtues of the men, we cha-cha. There's, you know, of course, loyalty, honesty, generosity, bravery, fortitude and strength of character. That's what bravery means. Respect, honor, to show and live. To show and live respect for yourself, for elders, children, and women. Very, very, very important. I think there's one here that's specific to women. And there's a whole list, of course, but spiritual laws. The ways of the Chinoopa and those spiritual laws. Very important today. Public community, possible banishment, all these kind of things that come under spiritual laws if you're going to disregard the very fundamentals of the American Indian movement. And I'm glad it's written down, you know, because as time goes by, time changes. What's going on in this world now, it's very hard to maintain these very important values and traditional systems. But that's what made the movement so strong all these years, is because of respect and the harmony. Thank you.
And I would like to see if you women could endorse like some of this domestic violence classes in the school curriculums, because it's something that should be taught at a level when these kids are young, coming up, instead of calling each other, you know, names and fighting. It teaches them a way how to, instead of reacting to something, it teaches them how to respond. And it also teaches us men how to become listeners, so that we can keep our mouths shut sometimes. You know, we need to just shut up and listen.
On the reservation, we do that through the Head Start, but it seems like there's a gap in there after that, and then high school, and then, so it does, you're right.
I'd like to comment on that.
Okay.